Hey there, everyone. Welcome into another edition of the Stingers Up Sacramento State Football Podcast. I'm Jason Ross. We got a jam-packed podcast for you. Whether it's video or audio, you're going to enjoy this one this week because it's Causeway Week, UC Davis, Sacramento State in the Causeway Classic. Today we will catch up with head coach Brennan Marion. We also will get perspective on UC Davis with their play-by-play voice, Scott Marsh. And we wrap things up with a little feature for you on the Causeway Classic. We caught up with a few former Hornets, and you'll like their perspective on what the Causeway means to them and a few of their favorite Causeway Classic memories. All right, welcome into another edition of the Stingers Up Sacramento State Football Podcast. Jason Ross here, the coach, Brennan Marion. Coach, congrats on another. I don't have the nails left. How'd you handle the last couple minutes of the Idaho game?
Oh, it was good. I mean,
you were pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought in that game that, the game was a lot closer than it actually felt during the game. I mean, it never really felt like a close game. So I had a lot of confidence that our guys could go down there and march down and score. We, for whatever reason, sputtered in the red zone. We had the touchdown call back. We had a 4th and 1 where we felt like we had it, but they, obviously overturned it and went the other way. And so the game never really felt like it was a close game. Defense got tired there at the end and let them, go down and score on that drive. But I really had a lot of confidence in believing that, our guys would get the job done. And then, obviously Cardell and did a really good job on, a 4th and 14 to get a first down, a 4th and 3 to get a first down. And then ultimately ran it in to close out the game and win it. And, that was a big deal for us. And even then when, they went up and did the Hail Mary there at the end, I had supreme confidence in our guys that we could get it done.
Yeah, let's go back to the red zone because that hasn't really been an issue. You guys have been so prolific at scoring when you get down there. Was that an isolated thing on Saturday with that?
Yeah, I mean, I just think our guys were a little banged up. Our runners were a little banged up. And, those one-on-one situations that we typically put them in, they win. And a couple times in those one-on-ones, we just didn't win. They did a good job of, tackling us. I showed the backs to, motivate them a little bit this week. I mean, we got tackled easy one-on-one in space a couple times where, that hasn't been a thing for, Rodney. I told him he had 32 carries for 100 yards and no touchdowns. I mean, it's like freaking 1980 out here. You can't score. So he'll be motivated for this week. Him and Jaquil, I thought they did a really good job running the ball. That just wasn't that, that big home run. We had a whole bunch of base hits.
Yep.
And not the home run that we typically have in the run game. But I thought we did a really good job running the ball, obviously. But scoring there in the red zone, we got to get that done.
Yeah, so let's get, you alluded to it earlier, but now you're trailing late, and you guys practice 2-minute drills all the time, but to go 60-plus yards, convert a couple of 4th downs, and the 4th and 12, 4th and 14, not the strength of the team, but to get that confidence building going forward, like what was that moment like for Cardell to find Williams for the first down?
Yeah, if you look at Cardell, I mean, anytime it's a passing situation late in the game, I mean, he's like perfect. The issue that he's having is sometimes early in the game, he's not, where we need him to be from a standpoint of throwing the ball to wide open guys or guys open in space. He's kind of trying to do too much or thinking about it too much. And so he's still developing, but I always tell him the best quarterback stat is winning. Mm-hmm. And right now as a starter, he's 7-2 and really one game before earlier in the season that gave me confidence in this 2-minute drill was the Reno game. He went down there and scored twice in a 2-minute drill to lead us down there, backed up, an 80-yard drive, and made it happen, throwing the ball every single play. And he ran it in, then he threw it in a play. And, obviously the result wasn't what we wanted, but he's done that in games. In this game, it was good to come out on the end of winning it in that situation.
Your own philosophy as a play caller, too, your own preference, not this game specific, would you rather have more time or timeouts? Or does it kind of depend?
Well, we had 3 minutes, I believe, when we got the ball. I mean, that's a lifetime. Yeah. I mean, we're a tempo offense, even though I don't think we go fast because when I was in college, we averaged 92 plays a game or something crazy when I was at the University of Tulsa. So we were the fastest team, I think one of the fastest teams ever in college football as far as going fast. I think it was us and Chip Kelly kind of Coach Malzahn, that was his claim to fame, the tempo offense. So For us, I mean, I think we're top 25 in tempo, how we move and operate. So, when you practice at that pace and you're used to going fast, when you get into a 2-minute situation, we already operate at a 2-minute, tempo and everything that we do every day anyway. So for us, we don't feel speeded up in that situation, whether we have a timeout to the luxuries, but going fast is kind of what we can do at any given time.
Yeah. You've told us about the wins in November, the ones you remember. Is this kind of one of those? I mean, now you've checked the box 3 times here in these must wins in November.
Yeah, absolutely. It's winter play basketball right now.
Yeah.
So, and nobody on our team can hoop. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They know.
Not ready for that.
That there's a video that we show them, every couple of days that says, if you don't win, your pads go over here. Your helmets go over here, and all the other stuff that you got goes in the middle. And, I think our guys are on the incline right now. They don't want the season to end. They're playing hard for each other. They've really, our guys that go in the game are too deep. They're really a close-knit group. They fight like brothers every day. They have a lot of energy and passion for each other, and they want to continue to make this season roll. And, I've just been proud of the guys for finding ways to win. It's hard to win in college football. I know everybody pretends like it's easy, but it's really hard to win in college football, and our guys have found ways to win.
So now it's the Causeway. In your past, what's the biggest rivalry that comes to mind for you that you've been involved in?
Yeah, I've been in the Red River rivalry game at Texas. When you walk out, there's 50,000 in Crimson and 50,000 in burnt orange.
Cool.
That was a cool game. When I was at Pitt, they didn't have the West Virginia game that year. We didn't get a chance to play the rivalry. Then obviously at UNLV the last couple of years, we made sure the Cannon stayed red when we played. That blue team. We made sure the Cannon stayed red, and then William and Mary, we played Richmond, which is a 100-year game that's played there. The colonial deal there. We beat them. So been in a lot of rivalry games that have a lot of significance. I always say if you're playing for a trophy, it's a very significant game. When I was at Arizona State, we won the Tutorial Cup against Arizona. That felt good to run around the field with the cup nonstop there. So this game has huge implications for the region and, players that are from here, families that are from here, local businesses, obviously our universities, staff and administration going back and forth. But to credit Davis and to credit ourselves, we made it where it's actually like a playoff game. Mm-hmm. It's not just we're playing for a trophy, hanging out type of, traditional game. This is actually a meaningful game. And so both programs have put themselves in a position to make this a more meaningful game.
Yeah, for sure. So when you look at film, as you've prepped this week about Davis, what do the Aggies do well? What are some things you're going to have to watch for on Saturday?
Obviously, they have a dynamic quarterback, kid out of Elk Grove, freshman. He's lit it up. He's been making plays with his legs, his arm, making teams look silly, like he's able to do a lot. Number 12, and then number 20, their running back, is a one-play drive guy. That's the type of guys I like to recruit, guys that can score in one play and change the game. He has that type of ability, so we've got to do a good job of, tackling him. I mean, we're going to have to actually tackle him or it's going to be a big play. Number 8, the receiver, met him at the Big Sky Media Day deal. I think he's a sharp kid who has some real juice. They can make plays. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they have a defensive end that transferred from Harvard, I believe, that is, has close to 10 sacks. Mm-hmm. He looks a lot like our guys that rush the passer. He plays really hard, plays the game the right way. Number 31, their other defensive ends made a lot of plays for him. On the back end, I like their corner, number 11. He's been a lockdown guy for him. And then number 10's came downhill, made some plays at the safety position. He's the leading tackler. He did a good job of filling in for the Connors kid who, obviously went down. So I think scheme-wise, they do a lot. Like our offense, they really try to capture your eyes with shifts and motions. And, it's just their base offense. Some people call an offense where you do a lot of shifts and motions and different formations a gadget or gimmick offense. But that's just what they do, and they do it at a high level. Coach Plo does a really good job with the scheme that they have and the players that they have to operate it. So we'll have our work cut out for us on both sides of the ball. Because, I feel like they have a very talented coaching staff and talented players as well.
When you're past in rivalry games, is there more to be said during the week of practice, or is it like, no, it's another week? We don't want to put more on the emotions that might come out on Saturday.
No, I mean, like I say every week, both programs are fighting for their lives. I mean, they're fighting for playoff hopes and opportunities. We're fighting for playoff hopes and opportunities. What we need to be worried about is, maximizing each rep that a player gets. Don't count your reps, make your reps count. Playing as hard as you possibly can for the team for 7 seconds that you're out there, 6 to 7 seconds that you get the opportunity to make a play. And, that's what we need to be focused on, the 1-0 mentality. I mean, everything outside of the game has nothing to do with what happens between the white lines.
Yeah. You've taken this team from 3 wins a year ago. The program's now at 7. What would it mean for you to get 8? And I believe a bid, but we don't know. That's out of your hands. But what would it mean to get that 8th win this year?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. I asked our players and coaches how many people won 8 games at the program they were at last year or the program here. And there was only about 3 to 4 people that could raise their hand. And so I said, when we talked about one great year can change our life, that would be a great year for us if you didn't do that the year prior. And so I told our guys, it can be a saying up on the wall or it can actually be true, and we're in control of that. And so for us, getting an opportunity to go to the playoffs and winning 8 games in the regular season, that would be a huge deal for our program and our players, and that would be a great year from the standpoint of where everybody was at last year to where they would be at, now.
Well, Coach, best of luck. Should be fun this week.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, let's continue here as it's Causeway Week. We've tracked down the voice of the UC Davis Aggies, the longtime voice. How many years, Scott, for you as the voice of the Aggies?
Well, it's 18 years here at Sactown Sports. Of course, Steve's buzzer did it, before us. And you and I, we did games back in school at Davis. So I kind of like to think I've been involved with it for over 3 decades.
Yeah, and then when you hear, there is no permanent, or there's no future game scheduled as of now. It could be the final Causeway, though I like to think there'll be more in the future. We don't know. What do you think about that?
Makes me really sad. And the one thing I will say that really made it come home to me Monday during the press conference, Tim Plow, the first thing he said when he came out, he goes, looking forward to the last Causeway. He said that a few times. And Tim Plow's not somebody who comes out for media hype or hyperbole. So when he said that, that really hit home to me that, this game's not going to be played again for a while.
Yeah, and so with that as a backdrop, I know for me, and I'd be curious your perspective as the voice of Davis, that I always follow Davis. You guys play Portland State. Oh, Sac State plays them in 3 weeks. The Aggies won by 18. What are the, or whatever, or they lost to this team. There's just a constant follow, and then I personally have loved that this game has been the last game, and really for the better part of the last 6 or 7 years, either one of the teams or both of the teams are going to the playoffs. So I've just have loved this game for so many reasons, and I'm sad too that it may not be continuing.
It's very sad. And Jason, you and I have so much history. I think of you as a Davis guy. And I know you've been doing Sac State football forever.
Yeah.
I still remember being at the College Station doing Davis games, and I know you bleed green and gold for this game. And obviously, I've been an Aggie guy the whole time through, but. What made it so great when we moved into the Big Sky Conference, we talked about it. We're playing every year in the last game. It's a true rivalry game. We said, what if it comes down to the final game where both teams need this game to make the playoffs? A couple of years ago, it felt that way. It really wasn't true because UC Davis beat Sac State, didn't get in. Sacramento State still got in. But I really feel like this year, certainly for Sacramento State, you guys have to win to get in.
Yeah, a lot more pressure. And then the one year, I'm blending years here, you may remember, but you guys were in the playoffs. Sac had a bye. Had you beat South Dakota State, they would have met again, which they have happened once in 1988.
That was 2021.
Yeah, so to have both teams be really good, both teams are in a good spot now. Let's talk about your team at, it's weird, 7-3, because who knew that game that Mercer that everybody watched didn't happen, even though it happened. That's weird that game could be a factor.
It's like that lost year of Dallas, Bobby, whatever happened, and they said, "Oh, this season never happened." He woke up from a dream.
Yeah. So what's for Hornet fans? What's the strength of this Davis team?
I think it starts with Caden Pinnick. He's been incredible at quarterback. They lost Miles Hastings, who threw for over 4,000 yards, and honestly, they haven't missed a beat. And Caden has a run game that Miles didn't have. He is so elusive out of the pocket. He makes plays. He makes that Aggie offense go. There's no doubt about it. Defensive line, as good as they were last year, they lost 3 graduating seniors. Jacob Syke is a beast on that defensive line. They've got more sacks than they had all of last year, and they got that after about game 7. So they get pressure on the quarterback. They have great quarterback play. The O-line, has, for the most part, had all 5 starters from last year intact this year, so that's been real solid.
As far as the defense goes, you mentioned Syke. He has had an incredible year. We all thought the year would belong to the Connors brothers.
Yeah.
Injuries have been a theme, but how have they? I mean, they're still here at 7-3 with all these injuries.
That's what's amazing. It's really been next man up, and every coach talks about that. Every team has injuries, but when Rex Connors went down in week 4, that was a devastating blow. And he went down scoring a touchdown on a Wildcat play, which even made it a little bit tougher. I know Tim Plow, they'd all agreed they were going to run that play, and there's no looking back on that, but I'm sure Tim Plow lost some nights of sleep after that. And, of course, his twin brother Porter, like a twin, goes down for the year in that game as well.
Yeah.
But that's not it. Our tight end Winston Williams, an All-American, went down in week 3. Ernesto Nava, who has been a Big Sky performer, has been in and out. He will play this Saturday. But it's been just one loss after another. For the Montana State game last week, you're allowed to travel 70 on a road game. UC Davis traveled an NFL roster. It was 55 guys.
Wow.
That's all they had to travel.
Yeah, that's amazing keep winning or be competitive in these games. And so I guess they've been able to, those are significant starters.
And Carter Vargas, too, our redshirt freshman, who's as good in the backfield as anybody. Right now we're down to Jordan Fisher, who's our primary ball carrier.
Wow. And the running back, you're down to, the room is 1 or 2 guys, right?
One guy, you and me, suited up pretty much.
Man, and it is the reality of college football, but it stinks. But to still have this kind of winning season says a lot about Coach Plow and the coaches.
It's incredible coaching staff. And Tim Plow, Cody Hawkins, when we talked to him, the Idaho State coach, who was a former offensive coordinator, he described Tim Plow, who was built at a lab on UC Davis to be a football coach for UC Davis, and it's true.
Yeah.
You go back to the history with Jim Soker, and then you had Bob Foster and Bob Biggs, Dan Hawkins. Tim Plow falls in that line. He quarterbacked at Davis. He learned the game from all of those guys. There's nobody who understands the program or the university better than him. He was born to be the UC Davis head football coach.
Yeah, and I know his, talking to him on the weekly radio show, he said the goals from the beginning are to beat your rivals. You've already checked that box with Cal Poly. You have a shot with Sac State. And to win the conference. You pushed the conference, so you really had a chance to do some damage. But look, last week, you feel like if you were fully healthy, Bozeman's as tough of a place to play. You think maybe you could have beat the Bobcats?
That's hard to say. Montana State's as good as it gets. I think it was really deflating because a year ago, at home against Montana State, ended up losing that game 30-28 in a crazy finish. And of course, that was a team that could have won a national championship for Davis last year. So I think there was a hope for getting a little payback, getting a little amends, getting a Big Sky Conference at least tie for a championship. But Montana State's good. But I think the fact you're so late in the year, having played that game, and you've got Sac State coming up this week. There's no looking back at that. But that was a tough loss. And, the team got home at 4 o'clock in the morning after that game. So that's part of the preparation for this week. The recovery time's been tough. Yeah.
So you went to the Northern Colorado Sac State game during the bye week.
Yep.
You followed the Hornets too. What's your read on this game as someone who's seen all of Davis's games?
I think it's as crazy as it's ever been. When I look at Sacramento State, you guys run for a ton of yards every game. There's no doubt about that. You're on a little bit of a roll now, having won 3 straight. But you guys have had so many close, nutty, dramatic games, too. That Northern Colorado game turns on a 4th down play, and you survive in that game against a good Northern Colorado team. We all know about Idaho and how that came down to the finish. I say, hey, you got it done, and you scored on the final drive, and Cardell Williams made the pass of the year on 4th and 14, so he's starting to believe in himself a little bit. Rodney Hammond is maybe the best running back, not only in the Big Sky, but all of FCS football. So ultimately, UC Davis has to stop the run game. It really is that simple. Is UC Davis going to prevent the Hornets from getting 300-plus yards on the ground?
Right.
If they can do that, if they control the running game, Davis is going to win this game.
Yeah. And then there's always wild cards, special teams. What's the status of Davis there?
a little banged up too. But I think with it being the last game, you may see, Sam Batu's been our returner, but they've been trying to save him. They don't want him as many reps on special teams, but I think he might be back returning kicks in this one. I mean, it's all hands on deck, right? Our punter's been really good, Dylan Morrow. Hunter Ridley has been an all Big Sky performer, so you always like your chances with him. It comes down to a game-winning field goal, like Metters, who's solid too for you guys.
Yeah, as I'm thinking about it here too, Causeway memories for you. You've done so many. You've been a fan or a student or called the games. Any couple stick out to you?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, right, that stick out to me. I think the game at Hughes Stadium in the rain when the Aggies, won by 1 touchdown. It was on a bomb pass, Anime Ojo, the 82-yard touchdown reception. That one stands out to me. Of course, when they had to kick the fans out at UC Davis Health Stadium because of the lightning, and the teams had to enter back through the stands to come back and play. That was a crazy one. I remember just some of the great tailgating over at Sac State before games. There's always been a good environment over there too. There'll be a great tailgate at this game as well. But just some of the pregame stuff, just being able to hang out, before the games has been a lot of fun for me as well. So, I mean, this year we'll create some more memories, and we'll just have to live on these, right?
Yeah, because we don't know. I mean, that's the weirdest part. Like, to say it's never going to happen again, who knows? We don't know.
You can't never say never.
Yeah, college football is constantly changing, but just factually, seeing your guys' schedule already for next year, there's Cal Poly now as your final game, which is a rival, but to not see Sac State is it's tough to see that on the schedule.
It's not the same. And, for this game to be played 71 consecutive years, and now to stop, that's pretty hard to take.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the last one, if for now, is a classic. They have been, really, the last couple of years have been some great games. Last year, the Hornets weren't a very good team with 3 wins, but
you guys
pushed the Aggies all the way to the end.
Absolutely. 42-39, had a great chance to play. Conklin was great in that game for you guys. And I'm sure there'll be something that will stand out from this one. All I can say, it's going to be an incredible atmosphere at UC Davis.
Yeah.
I think it might be the biggest crowd ever in stadium history.
That's awesome, because you guys had that record earlier this year.
Broke it at 17,000 earlier in the year.
Everybody's on the berm.
Everybody's ready to go.
Get your own grass
on both
spot.
sides. There's going to be a ton of Sac State fans there.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be fun. Have a great call. People can watch Scott on the TV version of it, and it's going to be fun.
It's going to be great, and I hope you have a great call, too.
Thank you.
Bobby Preskis, I played here from 90 to 92 as the quarterback.
What's the Causeway mean to you?
Oh, it's just like any other rival week. It is a huge game, and the fact that we're basically in the same community, 20 miles separates us, the Causeway, it's huge because where I live down in Land Park and being a coach here on staff, you come across UC Davis people all the time. So bragging rights is huge.
How about your personal favorite Causeway memory?
Well, I got to bring up all 3 years because then that gives me a winning record. My first year, I broke my back, didn't play in the game, but we won, I believe, like 14-9. We killed them my second year in 1991. 1992, I thought we had a better team, and they ended up beating us. So it just goes to show you that in a rival game, you never know who's going to win. You got to bring your best, and unfortunately that game we missed 2 field goals, we had a touchdown called back, and we lost by 6 points. So that one still stings.
Still hanging on to that.
Oh, you always remember the losses, but we did have 2 victories in that span of 3, and then as a coach, we lost our last 2, so we need to get that trophy back here on Sac State's campus.
Darren Arbett, outside linebacker, 80 to 85.
So when you think of the Causeway, what do you think?
Big game for us. Don't like that team. Definitely want to win the game. That team across the Causeway, it's always a tussle for us, but just puts you in that mood knowing that you're going to play that football team.
In your history from 80 to 85, what moments, what memories, you personally, team-wise, what stands out?
We had some good seasons. Unfortunately, we didn't play well in the Classic, the Causeway Classic. We didn't play well in that, but we had some great years here, 83 a couple of times, and we always had a winning record.
All right, when you were a coach or even broadcaster, any other Causeway parties that stick out to you?
Yeah, we played at Sacramento City College. We hung 50 on that team
In the event of an emergency, please
over there on the other side of the causeway.
Troy Mills?
take a moment to
Troy Mills. Troy Mills.
the exit.
Tyron, you qualify the rivalry. I can tell how you're seeing it, but is it friendly? Is it a rivalry? Where's the fault line for you?
Please know that
You know, I don't like a lot of things, and that's one of the things I don't like.
the Sacramento State.
My name's David Dean. I played offensive line under Coach Richardson and played 22 and 23 here.
So, in your memories, like when someone says the Causeway Classic, what's that mean to you?
It means a lot. It was a great time to represent Sac State to our neighbors down the road. And I came from a JUCO, so I just always heard about it, heard about the large attendance here, and going over there to play my last ever football game. It was, an honor and to be a part of something so, historical. So it's a lot of respect between the teams. I wouldn't call it hate or anything, but it was a good time, fierce competition for sure.
My name is Joe Mazuka, and I was a football player at Sac State. I'm a legacy in the program. My brother played for Ray Clemens 10 years before me. And I came in from Hartnell Junior College in the Salinas Valley. There were 6 of us that came in, and Matos recruited us into Sac State football. And we were really excited to be here with all the rest of the Hornets and with Coach Matos. Coach Matos was special.
It's the Causeway. When you hear that, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I got to play in a Causeway Classic at UC Davis. And Kenny O'Brien was the quarterback, Jim Soker and that wonderful staff, and we played very, very well. I know Channel 3 was televising that night, and we were at UC Davis, and Kenny O'Brien came out in the second half and hooked up with his ex-receiver and threw 2 NFL passes, and it sort of broke our back a little bit, but we competed with him, and the Causeway Classic is everything. It's everything to Hornet football. So I think it's important that in some way we keep this thing going, And if that means brand new stadium somewhere over at Cal Expo or whatever, then that means we need to keep the Causeway Classic going. There's too much tradition that goes way back in the Causeway. So yeah, it was fun playing in the game with my teammates, and some of them are here. And that's why I come back. I come back to bring people back together and support the Stingers, the new Stinger Foundation.
Name's Abel Ordaz. I played safety here from 2017 to 2022.
So when you think of the Causeway, when you hear Causeway Classic, what's that mean to you?
Man, win. It'll be better than the people across the Causeway, and that's kind of goes from just everything. When I first got here, all the guys talking about Causeway, UC Davis, we don't like them, stuff like that. So it didn't take very long for me to kind of realize okay, this is actually a big deal around here. Not being from the Sacramento area, so I wasn't too familiar with it. I knew we were rivals, we were close by and stuff, but not to this extent. But it's always a sight to see, and for the most part, every game is close. It's tight and it's gritty, and see there's a lot of people that don't like each other on the field, and that's okay. It's what a rivalry is. So
the older guys, you're coming in, the older guys are letting you know, this is a big deal.
Yeah, pretty much. The John Bays of the world and stuff like that. When I first came in 2017, it was something that, I didn't know much about. And they're like, yeah, we don't like those guys. And I was like, okay, and make sure they're like drilling that into us, like, make sure you keep this rivalry going, as we go. So we're on the actually 2017, we did beat them, so that was nice. That was obviously a great win. And then 2018 was ugly for us, but then we went on a good run, 2019 to 22, and we were able to celebrate a Big Sky championship too in front of them. So that was nice.
What's that? So that sounds like probably what's your specific, like, is there a memory that you're going to carry with you for 10, 15, 20 years down the road about the Causeway?
Yeah, it's gotta be. I remember, like, I have photo evidence of just holding up the Causeway trophy, in 21, on their field, being able to celebrate, a Big Sky championship also too, on their field. That was a memory I won't forget. And then, of course, in 2019 too, that was also, we were making history at that time here, at Sac State. But then being able to also hold up the Causeway trophy, it just makes it that much better.
Nothing better than holding that slab of concrete.
It's heavy. It's really heavy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's nothing like it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
My name is Tyler Perez. I was at Sac State from 2020 to 2024. Played offensive line for Coach Richardson and a bunch of other coaches.
So the Causeway was pretty good to you.
Yeah.